Over the last 7 years, real estate journey has been my passion. Yes, I did stumble into it. I was a regular professional within the financial services, both from Nigeria, where I came from, and up until about 18 years ago when I moved to the UK. I remember arriving at Glasgow Central Station and thinking to myself, what have I done? But we've done over 25 projects which have required capital. Real estate is undoubtedly a very capital intensive business, but having a good credibility means you'll be able to have access to finance. Finding the deposit is one of the major barriers to getting into property investment. I remember the first project that I managed, it was a disaster. What happened, we had plastered before we even did. First fix electrics and plumbing. So of course, after the plastering dried, the electrician came and just ripped up the fresh plaster. It starts from getting the right tradesmen from the get-go, and we usually vet the contractors we work with. I think the fastest project to turn around has been about 4 weeks. It's very important to be clear on the end use of the property that you are looking to purchase and be able to separate what is a deal from a distraction. We've done over 25 projects now since we started. The model we use is look for old and derelict properties and just transform them into high quality homes for families. I mean, everyone loves it before and after, but we moved into conversion. So 1 bed into 2 beds, 2 beds into 3 beds, because that way we felt we could fully unlock the potential of those properties beyond standard reform, and also a family will benefit more from a 3-bedroom than a 2-bedroom. So one of the key things is, if you're looking to get into it, is the choices you make. The choices you make with your finances is very important. You want to be looking to invest in assets rather than liabilities. Working in financial services with zero background in construction or real estate, and then moving into it and actually building a business out of it. What we provide with our own training outfit is we provide very structured training that's also practical based, because we use a lot of experiences we've had in terms of completing over 25 projects as well as clients' projects. So apart from the training services, some of the other services we provide, especially for professionals, is around sourcing and project management. Over the last 7 years, this real estate journey has been my passion, and yes, I did stumble into it, as it were. I was a regular professional within the financial services, both from Nigeria, where I came from, and up until about 18 years ago when I moved to the UK. I've got a background in financial services. I worked with companies like Barclays and RBS, Sainsbury's Bank, worked within the risk project management space. But about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, my wife and I, who we run the property business together, we were thinking to ourselves about, okay, what else can we do? We had a decent income between us, and we're just considering what other investments can we do. We looked at different options, stocks, shares, investing in other businesses, but none of those actually work out. So we thought, okay, let's just buy a property, we'll put a tenant in, collect the rental income, save up another 12 to 18 months, buy another one, and just do that over time. But during the process, we actually stumbled on a Facebook ad, which is supposedly by Robert Kiyosaki, coming to Edinburgh at the EICC, and thought, oh wow, I'd read Rich Dad Poor Dad back home in Nigeria. So the fact that there was an opportunity to meet him in person, that of course was quite appealing. So I sent that invite to a number of our friends, and we got there on the day. Obviously, the man himself wasn't there. It turned out that the company that ran the ad was had an affiliation with Robert Kiyosaki. But nonetheless, that night is what has brought us to where we are today. Because that night, over a 2 hour period, we heard things that I never really know how to articulate. Things that I've thought about, around financial freedom, around passive income, but having it explained in such a way and how real estate could be a gateway to that really, really piqued my interest. And so signed up for a few courses after that. And January 2018, Shefa Properties was born. The principal and original motivation was to be able to spend more time with family. I said, my wife and I, we're both full-time in financial services. We had 2 young kids. And what we found out was we were barely seeing much of our kids because, you put them in after-school club, you don't, because you have to work. This was before COVID, and remote working has become very prevalent. So that was one of the key motivation about thinking of, okay, how can we create greater flexibility in our lifestyle? Because our kids were growing up and we were barely spending enough time with them. Of course, Nigerians, Africans, the weekends are usually busy. There's a birthday party or an event, or so. And during the week, was work. And so that is part of what I kind of seemed to have set the stage. And before the real estate opportunity came in. So that was the principal motivation. But as we started the journey, the fact that we had a chance to make a difference to the housing crisis that was here, that became another key motivation for us in terms of, okay, not only can we have economic rewards from doing this beyond ourselves, we could actually have a social impact in a country we've come to call home here in Scotland. So that in itself has been part of what's really been motivating us. And we've done over 25 projects now since we started. And that's the model we use is, look for old and derelict properties and just transform them into high quality homes for families. And that model in itself, everyone loves everyone after. That in itself, that process of transformation for me has just been incredible. The focus of our model is yes, we do standard refurbishments, where cosmetic reforms and all, but we moved into conversion. So 1 bed into 2 beds, 2 beds into 3 beds, because that way we felt we could fully unlock the potential of those properties beyond standard reform, and also, a family will benefit more from a 3-bedroom than a 2-bedroom. So that was also a secondary driver for the model that we have. So that's what the journey has been like, and nothing has been. All through my career, nothing has been as fulfilling, as motivating as the work I've done over the last 7 years, because it offers both economic rewards as well as a very key opportunity, especially here in the UK, to make a social impact and make a difference. Generally, and I'm sure you've heard in the news as well, finding the deposit is one of the major barriers to getting into property investment. Either buying one's own residential property, or as well, going into it as an investment. Having a good savings, obviously for professionals, one of the key things is, if you're looking to get into it, is the choices you make. You want to make a choice whether, I'm not against it, especially if you're looking to start. The choices you make with your finances is very important. You want to be looking to invest in assets rather than liabilities, and there's a whole conversation around that. So a principal barrier is capital, but we've done over 25 projects, completed over 25 projects, which have required capital. So yes, with every barrier, there are always ways to overcome them. So yeah, principal thing I'll say to anyone looking to get into it is it's very important to get knowledge. As I said, yeah, we were attracted to real estate by a seminar we attended, but we actually signed up for property investment training over a period of time, and by taking action, because there's no use attending seminars and workshops and gaining all of that knowledge and do nothing with it. So that's what's enabled us bridge that transition between working financial services with zero background in construction or real estate, and then moving into it and actually building a business out of it. Like any change process, there's always that anxiety and nervousness about what you don't know, and maybe more importantly, what you don't know that you don't know, because that's where errors and mistakes come from. But of course, that's part of what's contributed to the experience we've had, and we've done over 24 projects. We've learned quite a lot in it. But specifically to your question, part of the challenges have just been that anxiety about, well, you've learned all of this in training. How well will it play out in reality? There are a lot of talk in terms of different myths about whether it's getting materials, whether it's cowboy, tradesmen, and all of those things. So those were real fears, but just having the courage to push through those things, I think is what has really served us well. For anyone looking to get into it, obviously, it's not a walk in the park. And I know, yes, a lot of people watch Homes Under the Hammer, and everyone, it always seems straightforward in terms of, just buy a property on auction, do it up, and sell for profit. That seems to be the mantra. And but it's very important that anyone looking to go into it are very clear on their objectives or their motivation, or as it were, their why. Why am I doing this? Are they looking for additional income, additional stream of income, or are they actually just looking to build, get lump sum cash? So it's very important to be clear on the motivation as well as your strategy for going into this. Finding the right location is very important. Again, depending on how much time, how much experience, how much knowledge, and also each individual's risk appetite, that in itself. But as far as location is concerned, it's very important to invest in the right area by considering the local economy, how well diverse the local economy is, what the future growth potentials are in those areas. And because property is a long-term investment, you need to have a long-term horizon, think 15 to 25 years. It's very important to be clear on the end use of the property that you are looking to purchase. And of course, also, it's very important to be able to do the research, do the numbers, do your due diligence, and be able to separate what is a deal from a distraction. So you need to be able to project what will this area look like in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time. And one way of doing that is actually looking at the local council's development plan, because that will give you an idea of where that area will be, maybe over a 5 or 10 year period, and you can use that put that into your planning. And of course, you also need to just be clear on, okay, what's your target market? Are you looking at providing accommodation for students? Is it for professionals? Is it young families? Is it home movers? So by having all of that just mapped out, and that will give at least an initial base to work from. Finally, having multiple exit strategies is very key. So yeah, you can I've already set out a clear end use for a particular project, but either due to legislation or due to other changes, you might, if the original exit strategy doesn't work out, well, do you have a plan B or a plan C? So that's one of the things we also do in terms of having a principal exit plan. This is going to be a BTL or this is going to be a flip, and then having a secondary exit strategies. And that actually worked quite well. About a property we did back in 2003 was a commercial conversion. Our plan here in Edinburgh, and our plan for it was the end use was as a serviced accommodation. It was 2 terraced, 2 bed, 2 bath terraced house in a really nice part of Edinburgh. But fortunately, we couldn't get planning for it, and we were going to flip it, but we couldn't get the kind of offer we were looking for. So we decided to use it as a standard rental, and it's done really, really well, even with that. So you can see right there, that's like 3 different strategies. So that's, again, just very, very important in terms of having a clear, a principal exit strategy, and then secondary strategies, just in case. And it's all part of risk management, which is very key in any investment, but in particular property investment, because of the significant capital that's involved. Getting knowledge, I can emphasize that, is very important. And I know there are a lot of training outfits out there, training videos and all. What we provide with our own training outfit is we provide very structured training that's also practical based, because we use a lot of experiences we've had in terms of completing over 25 projects as well as clients' projects. We bring all of that knowledge into those workshops. So apart from the training services, some of the other services we provide, especially for professionals, is around sourcing and project management. With the sourcing, this is targeted at professionals interested in property, but either because they don't have the time or even interest or the knowledge, and they really want someone to just help them with securing property. We can help with that, following a discovery call to understand, their goals as well as their the strategy they are looking at. We can help to find the right property. We do the research, we view the properties, do have the engagement with the estate agents and the vendor, and we can help them secure the right property in the right location according to their specified criteria. The second bit is around project management. So again, we could do both sourcing and project management. On the project management, we assemble the project team. We also deal with sourcing materials with the merchants that we deal with, and we help to transform, either an old property that requires refurbishment, we transform it into an income-generating asset for the client. I've completed 2 client projects since the beginning of this year. Currently working with another client now. So if that's something that you are interested in, you can get in touch, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I can tell you more about it. Real estate is undoubtedly a very capital-intensive business, but having a good credibility means you'll be able to have access to finance. One of our principal finance partners is Together Finance, and they are usually our entry. They fund a number of the purchases that we do, along with our own funds and also funds realized from previous projects. So once the project is completed, we refinance to a standard mortgage. So we have a power team, mortgage brokers and solicitors who help facilitate that whole side of things. Raising finance, there are different ways of looking into that. And I said, yep, that's part of a key part of what we cover at the training. It starts from getting the right tradesmen from the get-go, and we usually vet the contractors we work with in terms of looking at the ratings and reviews, and a number of times we actually go with recommendations of people within the industry as well. So that's really helped. The contractors we work with, a number of them we've been a long-term working relationship with. So that also helps, having that relationship and letting the entire project team understand what you're looking to achieve, having clarity on the deadlines, and just really doing proper snagging in terms of once work is completed to ensure it's of the right quality. And once there's clarity from the start in terms of what you're looking to achieve in terms of timeline, having the right people skills, is one of course, the principal thing that will kind of hold everything together. I remember the first project I managed, it was a disaster, put it that way, because prior to that project, we'd always used a single contractor. So he just went ahead and did everything. We had a single point of contact. He reported to us about the progress of the project. But when we decided to take on the project management ourselves, we had different challenges in terms of, okay, how do you schedule the work? What's the sequence? Is it you do the first fix plumbing and electrics first? What happened that project is we had plastered before we even did first fix electrics and plumbing. So of course, after the plastering dried, the electrician came and just ripped up the fresh plaster. But of course, that was the first project, and it was a painful lesson, but that has been part of what's really contributed into the projects we manage. By I think the fastest project we've turned around has been about 4 weeks. So that's really given us really good experience. So that's part of what we're also looking at in terms of project management. Do you self-project or do you use a main contractor, depending on time, availability, and there are pros and cons for that. And we look at, most importantly, and this especially for those who are migrants, we look at mindset, because that is what will make the difference between succeeding in property or only going halfway. Having the right mindset and having a belief in what's possible and having the right knowledge. When all of that comes together and is underpinned by the right mindset, then success is inevitable. So those are all the things that we cover at the training, both the specific property knowledge, technical knowledge, and also a broader view of the economy and the individual themselves looking to go into property investment. One of the key guarantees to getting results or positive outcomes is to work hard, to apply yourself. And then, of course, it's very important. Part of what's really helped us is having that knowledge. Of course, you're not going to get all of the knowledge that you need in one training or multiple trainings, and there is the place of experience. But just having that knowledge base from which we could start from gave us a really solid foundation from where we proceeded from. The third thing that's really helped over the last few years is just having a possibility mindset, not being afraid to push a door open, and not being afraid to believe in what is possible. And one of the things that has really kept us in this game is around action. Taking action. By taking action, it means you can move the dial. Taking knowledge-based action means you can move the dial in the right direction. But overall, yes, having faith. People have faith in different things, in themselves, in and their knowledge, in their parents, their connections, and all. And yes, I have a personal faith in God. I'm a believer, and I go by that principle in terms of all things are possible with God. And I like to describe myself as a possibility thinker. That's what brought me. That's what brought me to the UK 18 years ago. Prior to coming to the UK in 2007 for a master's degree at the University of Glasgow, I'd never traveled out of Nigeria. I'd never traveled out of the country before. And when I came here, I had zero relations or friends or network or anything. Just was literally came blind. I remember arriving at Glasgow Central Station and thinking to myself, what have I done? Because I'd left all that was familiar, family and friends and a good career. But because I was motivated for something better, and my dream living in Nigeria was to work for a global financial services company, which, working with Barclays, that was kind of ticked that off. But yeah, moving country, moving continent, moving career, having that faith that, yes, I'm not on my own, has been the principal basis of our remarkable success.